last year, me and 3 of my friends have been developing a cozy baking game called Fifi's Bakery, which is where you play as a cat baker and you have to bake tons of adorable pastries for the cute animal townsfolk. And I've been working really hard on the marketing, and I grew our TikTok following from 0 to 50,000 followers in just a few months, and I posted a lot, like 3-4 times every day. Also grew a YouTube channel, we're almost at 3,000 subs, mailing list, all of that. Social media went crazy. I worked very hard, and my team also worked very hard on the development, and there's a playable demo on Steam and itch.io. The goal of all of this was to have a successful Kickstarter campaign because we do want to release the game as a full game. It's my goal and my team's goal to have an indie studio where we release Cozygames and similar games where we can do it full time, and crowdfunding was the route that we chose to go with that because it's one way that we don't have to do publisher fees and do publisher things, and we can be connected to the audience, you guys, what you actually really want. Unfortunately, it looks like out of our $55,000 Canadian goal, we are 25% funded, and the campaign ends in 1 week, so it's not gonna happen. That's okay. It's okay. I've grieved it, and it's okay. My team has grieved it, and it's just about learning now. Why did it fail? What happened? We're trying, and I want to explain it to you if you are looking at having a Kickstarter campaign so you know what to avoid, what to do, what not to do. And I want to talk about my potential next steps as a studio going forward. I'm a big believer that failure is part of the process of learning. We need to fail at something in order to get better and know what it is. And there's no teacher like real life. I could read a million blogs, and I did read a million blogs and articles and YouTube videos about Kickstarter and took classes and everything, but there's nothing like actually doing it in real life and seeing what works and doesn't work. So I was actually grateful for this experience, so I can learn what to do next time or what to avoid. So the goal of the Kickstarter campaign was 55,000 Canadian dollars, and this is for a year of development of 4 people working on it part-time. Full-time, that's not possible, but we wanted to release it in September of 2025, and we still have that goal. But the 55,000 Canadian dollars was going to help us not work part-time jobs and really focus on development. So we felt that that goal was reasonable, and seeing that people have indie games that are much smaller scope and ask for more money and achieve that goal makes me feel like the goal wasn't the problem, it was the marketing. Which is hard for me to believe because I reached 50,000 followers on TikTok. But that's the problem, it's TikTok. I didn't realize that having a large number of followers on a platform that maybe won't convert as well isn't going to get me my goal. So the main reason why we weren't funded was because we weren't put on the front page of Kickstarter. That's how pretty much, if you're put on the front page of Kickstarter, you're guaranteed to get funded. And how do you determine whether a project gets on that front page when you open up the Kickstarter application? It's if the project is doing well in the first 1 to 2 days of opening its campaign. So that's why the first day, even though we reached, I think it was like 5% funded on that first day, I was like, it's not gonna work. On the first day, I was like, it's not gonna work. The first week was like an emotional roller coaster because I kept on thinking, is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work? But that first day, I really realized to myself, we had to be like 15 or 20% funded on the first day in order for the algorithm to like us, and we were 5%. So, and most of the donations were from our friends and family, and it wasn't from our fans. So why did this happen? The email conversion rate was very low for me. So that's one thing that I was expecting to be higher because I have a lot of subscribers to my email newsletter. But for some reason, I think because I wasn't sending emails frequently enough, they only converted like less than 10 people who were subscribed to my email of over, I think, 600 email subscribers pledged, which was very shocking to me. So I want to figure out like why exactly did the email conversion not happen the same way I was expecting it to. Another thing was that we published on TikTok, and most of my promotion was done on TikTok. You can scroll to my YouTube channel. I have made quite a number of YouTube videos as well, but I definitely grew more on TikTok. That was my main platform. And the thing with TikTok, I'm looking at our analytics, most of the people are aged 14 to 25, and most of them are based in the Philippines, Canada, and the UK. First of all, the Philippines, I love my Filipino audience, but they really like playing mobile games, and the economy is not as strong as it is in the West over here, so they can't really afford to pledge on Kickstarter as much as Canadians or people from the UK. So I don't know how intelligent it was to market towards them as heavily as I did. And second of all, it wasn't a mobile game. Everyone who's on TikTok expects a mobile game because they're on their phone anyways. A lot of the time they didn't even know what Steam was, let alone Kickstarter. So it was just marketing to the people that loved the concept of our game but didn't understand the delivery of it, which is a problem. I've noticed that the conversion rate for my YouTube videos are much higher than the conversion rate of my TikTok audience. And I think that is because the age on YouTube is 25 to 35 on average, but it is also more men than women, which is a little bit surprising to me. I was expecting a more high female audience, but for some reason I'm on the male side of YouTube, which is fine. But the only thing is, I'm making a cozy game. Men don't really play cozy games, so why would they pledge to a Kickstarter about cozy games? So I think that I'm just not targeting the correct people, and that was a big cause of the reason of the lack of conversion, because it was either kids that can't afford it or don't know what a Kickstarter is, or guys who don't even play cozy games. Another big problem was that I only posted the demo 2 days before the launch of the Kickstarter. And I spoke to Ellie from CozyCat Games, who had a successful Kickstarter after an unsuccessful Kickstarter, and she shared with me all of her insights about Love at the Milky Way Diner, which is a cozy cooking sim, which is like a dating sim as well. And she said that she had, on the second time around, posted the demo. It was like up for weeks before the Kickstarter campaign, and it actually got picked up by the itch.io algorithm on the front page of there, so people found out about it through there, and that was one way to propel it forward. So I think that if I had posted the demo more than just 2 days before the Kickstarter campaign, actually showed gameplay, because for the longest time I wasn't showing gameplay, I was just showing concept art and explaining with my mouth and my words and doing art contests and things like that and engaging the community, but they weren't actually seeing what the game was about. It was too early in its development to show the game accurately what it's about. So I think if I had done that earlier or postponed the Kickstarter a little bit later and had the people really engage and have the time to actually play the demo, the first 2 days would have had a much higher conversion rate, which would have heightened the chance that we were on the Kickstarter front page. Along with that, we did release on itch and we released on Steam, but there was no Mac build because all of us have Windows PCs, except for me. I do have a Mac laptop, but I didn't make a build of it on Mac, and that was, there were Mac users, so we should have made a Mac build for Mac users. Another thing is there were some bugs that were quite distracting and obvious, so obviously that's like not looking as professional. There weren't any typos, I don't believe. I think we removed all the typos, but there were a few bugs. Another thing is, it is our studio's first game together as a studio. I have independently shipped games and very small games, but still games, and my teammates have also worked on their own individual product. But this is our first full big release and together as our studio, CozyCat Games. So obviously, first studio, lack of credibility, lack of experience, you know, people are going to be more hesitant to pledge to us, which is totally justified. Another thing that I did that I realized isn't as common is I did all of the marketing me. I was everything. I didn't partner with any publishers. I didn't do any marketing budget. There was literally $0 spent on marketing. I didn't do any paid ads, any collaborations with any YouTubers, anything. Everything was just me creating content and talking about my game. Everything was content creation. And I still was able to reach 25% funded with just me making content creation, which I think is quite impressive, because usually what a game will do is they will partner with a publishing agency or something like that that has already an influence and get it to play and get these influencers to play. Everything was done from me and from my initiative of making content and TikToks and YouTube videos, and you know, we made Reddit posts and email newsletter. Everything was just me, which I think isn't the right way to go necessarily, and I need to figure out what the other avenues available are. So as for next steps, I'm considering either looking at a publisher or relaunching a crowdfunding campaign a second time, but in order to do so, I need to think about the timing. I was thinking of doing it in November, but the only thing I'm hesitant about is the fact that it's going to be so close to Christmas and people are going to be spending money on gifts and AAA games as well for family members, so indie might not perform the best. Another option is October, but I don't know how much we could realistically grow by then. I mean, it could happen. It's just kind of scary to think about it so soon. And then the other option is in January or February after the New Year's, which is you know, again, after the holiday season, maybe people are in hibernation, but maybe they're looking to fund a Kickstarter campaign. So that would be the options for if I want to relaunch the crowdfunding campaign. But as for now, I'm just going to be looking at publishers and seeing those types of funding options. And if I don't get something from that, if I don't get a positive response, then we'll relaunch the crowdfunding campaign. I would really appreciate if you have any experience in Kickstarters, or if you want to share your experience in any other funding for indie games. I would totally really love to hear about that. Also any feedback in general, and also I hope these tips help to know what to avoid, what to do, what not to do, what worked for us, what didn't. I really appreciate each and every single one of you who has been sending us lovely messages and supportive things and everything in the comments. I have been absolutely, like, it makes me so, my heart's so filled to know that there are people with us and encouraging us despite everything, and despite this being our first project and everything. And I want you guys to know that this isn't the last you'll be seeing of CozyCat Games. We're going to be keep on going strong forward. I definitely need a little bit of a break. Kind of just need to, because I've been like going at it for months. But you know, once I've chilled out, once I've re-strategized, we're going to be back at it. We're going to make Madame Fifi's Bakery a full game. It's just a matter of when and how, but it's going to be a full game. Mark my words, it's going to be a full game. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this was insightful, and I really appreciate your beautiful comments and everything, and I hope that you have a lovely day. Let me know what you want to see from me next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!